WHAV, Merrimack Valley, Open Mic.
From the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, 97.9 WHAV FM presents the new Open Mic Show with Bill Macek. Make your voice heard. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900.
Okay, we are here on the Open Mic, Bill Macek, and this hour my guest is Rufus Gifford, and Rufus is running for Congress, and he's been working hard, and we've been talking about it. And how you doing? Good to see you.
Bill, it's great to be back. Thank you so much for having me. Yes, we have been working hard indeed. 29 days left. Amazing.
That's the countdown number.
That is right. That's right. And I think the first time I was here was sometime in the winter, and the election felt years away.
A little time then, right?
Yeah. And now you'll have a much better sense of how this race is shaping up, and we feel great in the final stretch. We feel great.
Yeah, you look great. You know, you're getting a lot of I see you on TV. I read your endorsements. Do you want to mention any of the endorsements that you've been able to get?
Yeah, absolutely. We've really tried to rack up endorsements really across the district. So right. I think we have 8 Democratic City Committee chairs, including your Bill Cox right here in Haverhill and Lowell and Fitchburg and Gardner and Concord and Berlin and Lunenburg and others. We have the mayor of Fitchburg, Steve DiNatale, has endorsed me. The 2 state reps from that region as well, Stephen Hay in Fitchburg, and well as Jen Benson, who represents Lunenburg and down a bit to the east of that, Harvard and part of Acton and others. And then we have city councilmen and women across the district in places again like Fitchburg and Marlboro and everywhere. So it's been great. What we are trying to do is run in every single one of the 37 cities and towns in this district. Of course, we spend a lot of time in Haverhill. I knocked on about 90 plus doors in Haverhill today, but this weekend I was in Winchendon, which is the far west of this district.
That's where my first radio station was.
Oh, you're kidding?
Yeah,
really?
Yeah.
Winchendon.
Yeah, I used to
Toy
travel
Town
from Haverhill to Winchendon, 70 miles each way each day.
That's a long drive.
Yeah. I was against the traffic.
That's right. That's just no easy way to get there.
But when I was looking to get into radio, a media broker called me and he said, I just had a price reduction on a freestanding FM in Winchendon. And I said, where? He said, next to Gardner, out Route 2.
Yeah.
I said, okay, yeah, I've been there a couple times in my life. So
that's right.
Went and took a look and made it happen.
Well, it's cool. It's the remarkable thing about our congressional district. Look, we have you have cities, you have Lawrence, you have Lowell, you have Fitchburg, you have Haverhill, you have some suburbs, places like Chelmsford and Concord and Andover and others, and then you have 900 family farms and a couple of ski mountains. You get out west in this district, and you are very much in southern New Hampshire. And it's you certainly see. People ask me all the time, how could Donald Trump ever get elected president of the United States? Where I tell you this, that if you go door to door in parts of this district, that have been left behind by the tremendous amount of prosperity that we've seen, say maybe inside the 195, the 128 corridor in Massachusetts, you understand very much that people are hurting out there, and you learn that, and you feel that everywhere you go.
And they're good people too.
Very good people.
They really are.
Yeah.
And so for the people that weren't listening the first time or haven't, they're just starting to realize there's an election coming up on September 4th. Which is the first Tuesday of September. It's getting close.
Day after Labor Day.
And it's not the normal day that you would go vote. It would be a week later, but because there's a religious holiday, they scheduled it for the 4th because that was the only thing they could do. So you got to work even harder to get people to realize that the day after Labor Day, they have to get up and find time to hopefully get to the polls.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. It means that we think this, and one of the reasons why we've invested so heavily in field, which is the get out the vote operation, is we believe, look, you have to be well positioned a week out from the election. You have to make sure that you're at a certain place in the polls, but a good, aggressive field operation is going to win this for whoever wins this.
Now, I don't want to do your resume, but why don't you tell people who you are and why you are qualified? I think you're very qualified because of your time that you You kind of served the country during the Obama administration.
I appreciate.
But you take it from there.
Sure, I appreciate that. So I met a young African American senator named Barack Obama in January 2007. At the time, I was a political. I had my own business trying to elect Democrats around the country, and I met then Senator Obama. I had about a 30-second conversation with him, and I said that I was going to spend the next 2 years of my life trying to elect him president of the United States. I thought he would be that kind of transformational leader, and I believe he was. I did not know that those 2 years would turn into 10 years of service to the country and to President Obama. So I worked on the first campaign, moved to Washington after we won, and worked at the Democratic National Committee for some time, helping to do things like pass the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, and others. And then we reelected him, and I was part of the senior team to help reelect him in 2012. And then crazy thing happened to, at the time, a 38-year-old gay kid from Massachusetts was the President of the United States asked me to serve the United States as ambassador. And I spent the last 4 years, the final 4 years of the Obama administration as the United States ambassador to the Kingdom of Denmark. And again, I mean, just remarkable experience. I think not only do you appreciate the United States all the more when you live overseas, understanding how other countries truly do rely on American leadership, but also you understand things that we can do better. And it's that perspective. So it's both the national service, both in government and politics, in addition to the international service, that perspective that I have that I really want to bring home with me to help serve the constituents, all men, women, and children in the 3rd District of Massachusetts. And it's that experience that I bring that I don't believe anybody else in this field has.
So how did, I'd like to just go on a trip someday in my life to Denmark. How was it living there? What's it like?
It's amazing. So it's actually a phenomenon. So culturally, it feels quite similar to Massachusetts, right? It's a roughly the same size. They're a country of 5.7 million people. We were largely settled by Northern Europeans, and so it feels that it's sort of a society based on the sea. So there's a lot of that. Yeah. They don't have many natural resources. We don't have many natural resources. So they innovate and they use their minds in order to succeed and excel. And I love that. I could relate to that. But there's also something very special about, Bernie Sanders talked about Denmark a lot during the 2016 election, that he thought the United States should aspire to be a Scandinavian-style social democracy. And I think that there's something wonderful about that. I mean, if you think about it, they have universal health care, they have free education, they have state-of-the-art transportation, they have the concept of paid family leave is certainly not an issue there. Kids actually get paid to go to college. Yeah, remarkable, and it's free. Wow. But it's the cultural differences. To another extent, are really real, meaning they have enormously high tax rates. They trust the government. They have this relationship with government, that government is an inherent force for good in their society. And they still complain about it from time to time, but it's so different from how Americans think of our relationship with government, as just based on this kind of idea of, I think, starting with Reagan when he said the 7 scariest words in the English language are, "Hi, I'm from the federal government and I'm here to help you," or whatever that was. Yeah. And so that's an American sentiment. And so the Scandinavians do things quite differently. But I think there's probably a nice middle ground.
There's a little bit of the younger generation, the millennials in particular. I see that they're leaning more towards interest in that form of government.
Very much. It's really, and that's why I can't tell you how many questions I get about Denmark when I'm on the campaign trail. A lot from young people, because they do look at the way Europeans govern, and there's something appealing about it. And look, I mean, when you think their healthcare system is, I don't care what sometimes people say on the right about some of these healthcare systems in other countries, they're just inherently more equitable, meaning people have access to care in a way that they do not, and it's free in a way that they do not have in the United States. And might you have to wait a little while if you need knee surgery, elective surgery? Sure, you might. But ultimately, the way healthcare needs to be implemented, which it doesn't matter how much money you make or where you were born or what race you are, gender you are, you should have equal care. And I think other countries do it better than we do.
So your experience of living in that, seeing it firsthand, would help you a lot in when in D.C. Because you can actually speak from true experience, and maybe it's not exact, but maybe it's somewhere in the middle. Maybe it's a morph of what you see there, what we have here, and you blend it.
I think that's right, and I do believe that, because I actually am not. I disagree at times with the way Bernie has talked about Denmark, because I don't believe that the United States can just be Denmark, and in a way that I think sometimes the people on the left of the United States talk. And why? Just to give you one example that I give all the time, if you were to guess how much Danes pay in car tax, like if they buy a car in Denmark, they pay 150% tax. So if you buy a $20,000 car in Denmark, you pay $50,000 for it. And I like to use that example because it's so far. Could you imagine?
That's quite an example.
Yeah. But just to give you that, sometimes those kinds of services,
I think
they're expensive.
Excise tax is too much.
Exactly. So that's what I mean. It's sometimes easier said than done. And if we are going to try to achieve some of these great things that I want to achieve, I think it's FDR time in the United States. I think it is FDR time. Big ideas, big, bold ideas. But we're going to have these tough conversations. We need to figure out what Americans are willing to do.
Yeah.
I think they're willing to do more than they're doing right now, but I'm not certain that they're willing to pay 150% sales tax on a car.
Not right away.
I just don't think so.
Hey, we got to take a break, Rufus. We'll
you.
be right back, and we'll talk with Rufus Gifford, congressional candidate for the
third congressional
district.
Yes,
which we affectionately call Nikki Tsongas' seat.
That is right.
Okay, might be Rufus's seat next.
Yes.
Let's hope. All right, that's it. We'll be right back on the open mic right here on a Monday night with Bill Macek and Rufus Gifford in the 6 o'clock hour. Next hour, back by popular demand, City Councilor Mary Ellen Daly O'Brien is coming in, and we'll talk some local stuff right here on the open mic. Stick with us. Thanks.
Open mic.
Bill Macek and the new open mic will be right back. Get in on the action. Call 978-374-1900. If you're enjoying this program, consider becoming a WHAV member right now. Just click on the membership tab at WHAV.net.
Catch the wave.
Hi, Tom Bergeron here. I started at WHAV in 1972. And look, WHAV's still here, but it won't be if you don't help support it. Go to WHAV.net. Become a contributor. Keep us going.
Community Spotlight is sponsored by Unicare Life and Health Insurance Company.
Community Spotlight.
Haverhill book lovers in their 20s and 30s are invited to join the library's Get Lit Book Club that meets the third Monday of every month at the Peddler's Daughter downtown. Book choices are listed online at haverhillpl.org. No advance registration is necessary, and readers don't have to have finished the book to attend. For more information, call Abby Porter at 978-373-1586, extension 608. Someone you know is on WHAV. To submit or read your own nonprofit announcements, click on the Contact tab at WHAV.net or email news@WHAV.net. In the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, I'm Eric Scott.
Support for WHAV is brought to you by Unicare Life and Health Insurance Company. For nearly 30 years, Unicare has provided health benefits to people insured through the Group Insurance Commission. Unicare is proud to be serving over 170,000 GIC members, retirees, and their families.
Stay informed each day with local news, coupled with FSN's worldwide coverage. 97.9 WHAV is the only Haverhill-based news source. There's always more at WHAV.net.
WHAV Open Mic.
From the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, 97.9 WHAV FM presents the new Open Mic Show with Bill Macek. Make your voice heard. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900.
Okay. All right, we're back. Bill Macek on the open mic. Rufus Gifford is our guest this hour, running for the 3rd Congressional District here in Massachusetts. And he's working hard, and he's been involved, and Lots of things going on for September 4th.
That's right.
That's
we knocked
the big day.
Our team. I should say this. We just launched our big initiative this week, which is me and my team. We're going to be knocking on 10,000 doors around the district today.
Wow.
So this week. So we started today. We did just over 1,100 doors today. I did 135 of them myself. So this is going to be a big week for us. But you know what? You know this. We've been doing this for 9 months, or longer. But most people are just starting to pay attention to this race. So it's a great time to start having conversations with people at the doors.
When it starts getting closer, people start, oh, yeah, there is an election coming up.
Yeah. They've seen our mailers. They may have seen my ads, all of those things. And so it's great to follow up on those conversations.
Right. And just keep climbing until the 4th.
Peak at the right
That's
time.
Right.
That's
Absolutely.
really important.
Yeah.
Really important.
So what are some of the things that, if you were successful and you get to Washington, what are some of the things that you have in mind, including working with our president?
Yeah. So so I think that we do, as I talk a lot about trust in this campaign, in the sense that we got to do everything we can to make people believe in the government again. It's why I brought up FDR just a few minutes ago, and that I believe is what he did. So I'll give you an example of something that I think we could focus on. Assuming Democrats take back the House, and then Republicans will probably still have the Senate, and Trump will be president. What I'd like to see happen is that we invest in some of the brick and mortar, bread and butter, making people's lives better that can be nonpartisan. What I'd like to see is us invest in a big, fat infrastructure spending bill. We live in a city. We live in a district that is built on rivers, which means we have lots of bridges. There are hundreds of bridges in this district. The roads and bridges are in desperate need of repair, and our public transportation. Again, having lived in Europe for 4 years, it just pales in comparison to the rest of the Western world. And what I think we need to do is actually make people. If you see a guy outside in your community that's fixing your roads and bridges, using your tax dollars, your federal tax dollars to do it, I think that is just. I think you just might smile and nod and say money well spent.
Yep.
And I think those basic things could start to have this conversation that we were talking about during the break. What can Democrats and Republicans do to work together on certain issues that should not be partisan?
Right.
What is partisan about infrastructure spending?
That's right.
What is partisan about opioids? In my mind, what's even partisan about many of the issues surrounding immigration, which I know is a very contentious issue, but this is an American issue. This should not be partisan. And so I think that we can get some of this stuff done. I have a very aggressive green jobs program, which is essentially how we could invest in next generation renewable energy based in part on what I learned a lot of in Denmark, and actually not just save the planet, but put people back to work in good advanced manufacturing jobs, the good paying jobs that we need to bring back to this district. So it's those kinds of things that I'd like to focus on when I get there. And yes, do I want Medicare for all? Do I want some of the big programs? I sure do. But we have to acknowledge, too, the fight there is going to be real. It's going to be real tough to get that done. So that might take a little more time. But let's get some wins under our belts in the short term.
How much of that fight, how much of the stagnation that we have right now, the log jams, is based because of either the congressional people or the senators being bought and owned by lobbyists?
No, I think it's a huge part of it. If you take healthcare, right now, I think one of the challenges with American healthcare is that there's so many for-profit entities that have popped up around the American healthcare industry, and whether that's pharmaceutical companies or insurance companies or hospitals, whatever it may be. And so often I think people are just trying to make a buck, and the lobbyists are march in the hallways of Capitol Hill every single day to advocate for their interests. And the consumer groups, the people, don't have nearly that kind of power. And I just think it's tragic. I really do. And ultimately, this does have to come down to the people. But this is why you need a new generation of leaders, honestly, who are not beholden.
Those are the things
way
that need to change.
Absolutely. And this comes. Yes.
Democrats and Republicans, I believe, feed from the same trough.
That's right.
The lobbyists are filling that trough.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I think it stagnates or screws up some of the decisions that should be made.
It's why all of these issues, sometimes I think our party oversimplifies how we talk about these issues, because what you're talking about healthcare reform. Well, you can't really talk about healthcare reform unless you talk in part about campaign finance reform.
That's right.
Because if you have politicians that are being that are raising money or
They're
taking
beholding.
tons of money from people,
put it that way,
or at least there's the perception of it.
Yeah.
And I just think that's problematic, and without a doubt, I think that we need to clean up the system. And I'm on a race right now where there's too much money in it, and we all have to spend way too much time doing my least favorite thing, which is raising money. But you need to do it to be competitive, and it's. And so that's a challenge. Yeah.
All right. Here's maybe the easiest or the toughest question of the night.
Yes, sir.
If the Democrats, and you're elected as one of the Democrats, takes over the House.
Yeah.
Will you support Nancy?
Can I have a 30-second answer to the question?
Yeah.
So this is how I feel. So this is if we take back the House. So if we don't take back the House, I think there's absolute need of new leadership. And I think that we need new leadership broadly. But this is what I think we should do. The last thing we need is a fight in December, right after we've won the House, between the establishment and the newcomers, the blue wave, whatever it is. So what I think we should do is say, here, Speaker Pelosi, you're going to have the gavel for a few months. In those few months, whatever that may be, 3 months, 5 months, during that time, we want you to identify a line of succession so that by the fall of 2019, when we're leading up to the Iowa caucuses and the New Hampshire primary, that there is a new Speaker of the House, a younger person, perhaps a diverse candidate, as from maybe geographical diversity as well. And I think that House somehow could make the party come together and stand for something.
That's
Acknowledge the legacy that Pelosi has had, while also truly insisting that we need new leadership.
Good answer.
Oh, I appreciate it.
All right, we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back. We're speaking with Rufus Gifford. He is a congressional candidate for the 3rd Massachusetts District. He wants to go to Washington and represent you, so listen close. We're going to be on this for another half an hour with Rufus Gifford right here on the Open Mic on WHAV 97.9 FM.
Open Mic!
Bill Macek and the new Open Mic will be right back. Get in on the action. Call 978-374-1900. If you're enjoying this program, consider becoming a WHAV member right now. Just click on the membership tab at WHAV.net.
It's 6:30. That we deliberate and achieve with wisdom and understanding, recognizing the rights of all of our citizens with full regard for the dignity and justice of the individual.
Each week, WHAV News brings you live gavel-to-gavel coverage of the Haverhill City Council. Listen to 97.9 WHAV FM each Tuesday night at 7 when the City Council is in session from the Theodore A. Pelosi Jr. City Council Chambers in City Hall. As a public service, Haverhill City Council coverage is sponsored in part by Dole, Childs & Shaw Funeral Home.
AutoFair Subaru of Haverhill has been an active member in the community for years. It's proud to partner with great organizations like Veterans Northeast Outreach Center, Make-A-Wish Foundation, and Katydid Foundation of Haverhill. These selfless charities are vital to our community, and AutoFair takes great pride in helping. AutoFair Subaru encourages everyone to see what they can do to help make our city and the surrounding areas a better place for everyone. There's a list of supported charities at autofairsubaru.com.
Wave weather.
Now your wave weather forecast for Haverhill and the Merrimack Valley. Heat advisory remains in effect until Tuesday evening at 8. Very warm temperatures continue tonight with lows eventually falling into the middle 70s with mainly clear skies. Light wind around 5 miles per hour from the southwest. Mainly sunny skies on Tuesday. The hot temperatures could allow an isolated thunderstorm or shower to bubble up in the afternoon. Overall near 97 degrees. Lows drop to 72 Tuesday night, mainly cloudy and an isolated shower. Few showers, maybe a thunderstorm around on Wednesday. High temperatures cooler in the upper 80s. I'm WHAV meteorologist Brian Ivy. Your next wave weather in 30 minutes.
For more in-depth coverage of the news, visit WHAV's website at WHAV.net.
WHAV Open Mic.
From the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, 97.9 WHAV FM presents the new Open Mic Show with Bill Macek. Make your voice heard. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900.
And we're back on the open mic. Bill Macek, and our guest this hour is Rufus Gifford, congressional candidate for the 3rd Massachusetts District. Wants to head to Washington, D.C. And right now we have a caller on the line who would like to maybe ask a question of Rufus, maybe 2 questions. Jerry, I understand you're on the line. Are you there? Jerry?
This particular question.
Jerry.
The proposed candidate danced a little. She must have went to the Fred Astaire School of Dancing, I guess. But anyway, the question, Rufus, Mr. Gifford, is about projects and infrastructure that doesn't have much in the way of ribbon cutting and dedications and all of that.
Yeah.
I think, and you probably know, Greater Lawrence Sanitary District had some major spills.
Yeah.
Lowell, the wastewater treatment plant, had some major spills. The Merrimack is fraught with combined sewer overflows all the way from Newburyport to, well, as far as I know, Manchester, New Hampshire, and maybe even farther. So there is a real need to do infrastructure projects to clean up our Merrimack so it can improve the water quality. And, you know, it's always been the dream to have boating and shellfish harvesting in the estuary. And, you know, it's been a dream for years. I worked with DEP for 50, and 30 years ago we were dreaming about digging clams in Newburyport. There must be wall-to-wall clams in Newburyport's estuary. But anyway, how do you feel? If you get to Washington, would you sponsor something that would help us, primarily the Merrimack Valley, because and there are a number of communities that really need money, especially the one that I live in, Methuen.
Sure. Yeah.
We were on the brink of bankruptcy, but we're going to have an oversight now. So, Mr. Rufus, would you just answer that question?
Absolutely, Jerry. Thank you so much for it. And the answer is absolutely. And I think about this in a couple of different ways. And I love that you mentioned that infrastructure projects, and I know I mentioned largely roads and bridges, but when we think about infrastructure, it's so much more than that. It's access to information, it's broadband, it's things like that. And in addition to that, it's also working with waste facilities and others, to clean up their act. This is about modernization. And I couldn't agree with you more. And I hear story after story. I've spent a lot of time traveling to the various environmental groups around the 3rd District, both in the southern part of the district as well as places like Haverhill and Lawrence and Lowell.
Yeah, you've talked to Rusty from the Merrimack Watershed Association, I'm sure.
I have indeed. And obviously Nikki Songus has been a strong proponent of wild and scenic river designations and whatnot. I think we need to do everything we possibly can. But
it's our drinking water, Rufus. It's our drinking water.
That's right. This is
exactly.
But not only do I want to get people kayaking and boating and all that stuff on the Merrimack, on the various rivers all throughout the district, we got to make sure that people are safe, and that we obviously have seen drinking water contamination in other parts of this country, and that's a failure of political leadership. So we got to keep our eye on the ball here.
Exactly.
And as
one in particular is Flint, Michigan.
Exactly.
I'm sure you heard about Flint. Right?
I sure have. And talk about a failure of political leadership there. So I think we got to keep our eye on the ball here. And listen, I was very proud to have served the Obama administration, and so many of the environmental protections that we implemented during the Obama administration we're seeing rolled back today. So I'd like to see a stronger EPA.
It's going to be tough, though. It's going to be tough because the present administration in Washington wants to reduce regulations.
That's right.
And it's going to be tough.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. You answered my question. You said you're going to try, and I'm sure you are. And so, and you didn't dance. Apparently, you didn't go to the Fred Astaire School of Dancing, right?
I'm a terrible dancer. I'll tell you that, Jerry. I'm an absolutely terrible dancer. So no one's going to want to see that.
But you're going to be a good legislator.
Thank you, sir.
For sure.
I appreciate that, my friend. Thank you.
Thanks for the call, Jerry. So anyway, talking about that, Haverhill, we're spending, tens of millions of dollars for cleaning up what we used to put into, the combined sewer overflow, which Jerry spoke about.
Yeah.
Where we're taking and taking it out of just spilling into the river.
Sure.
But we have one, Councilor Joe Bevilacqua has been saying, he's been on the council for a couple of terms, and he was on the school committee, very popular guy. You may know.
Yeah, I have met him, yes.
Right. So Joe, he insists that we always write with these mandates, these unfunded mandates. He said the federal government should be giving us money or at least participating. And I think he's right, in the sense that, we're just told you got to do it, otherwise we're going to fine you even bigger. And so
but you have to come up with the money.
We have to come up with the money. So we're bonding and doing whatever we can. We just allocated more funds just for another phase because they are pretty tough in making sure that we're doing things as we should. I'm also told that Haverhill's one of the better communities that listens and gets things done. But we're doing a shoreline well. We've always had reservoirs that we've had our drinking water come from, but because of our growth and we don't want to run out of water. So the shoreline well will have natural filtration because it's not just putting a pipe in the river and sucking it out. But we're spending millions of dollars to do that.
Yeah.
So it would be nice, even if it was just low interest federal loans.
That's right.
Better than what we can get now.
Yeah, I think. Look, this again, it goes back to leadership, and you need. So I want to be a congressman that consistently fights for these sorts of things and fights for resources for these 37 communities that I very, very much hope to support come next year. And it is about. It is about the federal government taking some of the burden off of state and local governments, right? Right now, so much of the burden exists at the local level, and you see that in school districts. You see that, and every community across this district understands this. And very often, this is just about an allocation of federal resources. Now, the federal government is enormous and complex, and what I'm excited to do, I'm excited to work with your mayors and your city and your councilmen around this district to try to identify the pockets of money that actually exist at the federal level, because there may be a lot of them in different agencies. Identify them and then try to capitalize on it and bring some of that money back home. Look, and we're going to have to do this together. And we're going to have to work together, but this is what it should be.
They're working together.
Yeah.
Both sides of the aisle, both aisles get to the middle.
That's right.
Someplace.
That's right.
And work things out.
Yeah.
I don't want to take your time because I know this is all about you, but I want to tell you a story that Marty Meehan told me.
Yeah.
And it was during our first inauguration, Mayor Ferrantini moving from the council over to be mayor, and it was my return to the council. So it goes back about 15 years ago. And Marty was there. He was our congressman at the time. It's the seat that you want to fill.
That's right.
And he said to me, and remember this, and I hope he does it. I've told the story enough that he probably knows I'm telling it, but it's such an impact story that I never forgot it. He said, I'm trying to pass a parity bill. And he said, I can't get any traction. I said, what do you mean by a parity bill? He said, it pretty much is simple. It's just that it says that whatever we spend in dollars in a foreign country for different categories, be it education, be it building roads, building sewers, they had it broken. Whatever we spend in other countries, we need to spend at least that amount in our country. And that's the bill.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
he couldn't get anybody. So that just told me then, and probably still the case, we spend more money in foreign countries than we spend in our own. And I'm not greedy. I'm not saying we shouldn't, help the world wherever we can. But, we're sliding in a lot of areas where we need to have that cash to assist us in our growth.
That's right.
Public transportation.
Yeah.
We just had a thing with the MVRTA.
Yeah.
You might have heard. There was a level funding initially. They did work it out.
Yeah.
But the level funding meant we were going to lose services, one full day on the weekends, and we were going to have the service cut from a 6 o'clock to a 5 o'clock stop during the weekdays.
Yeah.
That wasn't going to work. So at the times that we're saying public transportation is the wave of the future, and we got to get it going, like you said, over in Europe. Public transportation is the way it works. Not everybody can afford a car anymore.
That's right. Yeah.
So we need to figure those things out.
No, without a doubt, I do. I mean, I couldn't agree more. And this is the thing. I always like to focus on what's best about the United States of America, and that we've had a number of different crises over the course of our history, and we know that. And every single time we've had one of these crises, we've innovated our way out of it. We've figured out. We've worked our tails off. And we've succeeded, and we've come out the other side, and very often come out stronger for it. And I just think we can do that again now. But
I believe we can too.
It does mean that we got to stop this slide that we've cut so many of these services to a point where it's just they are not providing the basic level of service that they promise people.
Right.
And I just think we need to turn that. We need to turn that corner.
That's great to hear. Yeah. So. You make it to Washington, you're going to be the guy that did you see that just fly by me? I'm not going crazy, right? There really was a little fly.
There's a little fly.
Tim, bring the fly swatter.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's something new.
Yeah.
And but it'd be okay if we were just on radio, but we're also on TV stations.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Anyway, and on the internet and Facebook and all that. We're worldwide here tonight.
Of course you are.
This little studio's going worldwide.
Yeah.
So when you make it there, you know, I can just tell you're going to be one of those guys that's going to try to bring it together.
Well, I'm very obsessed with this idea, and I'm a former diplomat, and I like to say that we need more diplomacy in politics, for example, it was my job for 4 years to sit around the table with 9 Danish political parties and try to get them to agree on something that would move the world forward. And that's the job of a diplomat, to come in with your own. You have an agenda, but the idea is that you can try to build a degree of consensus, and that's the way politics is supposed to work.
Absolutely,
ultimately, you got to have values. You got to stay true to your values.
Sure.
But I think we focus in American politics so much on what divides us and not what we agree on. And I know I could sit across the table from the most conservative Republican congressman, and we may disagree vehemently on things like guns or marriage equality. Look, I'm a married gay man. I'm not going to ever give an inch on that. But I bet you we could agree on. I bet we could agree on infrastructure spending. I bet we could agree on green jobs. I bet we could agree on a number of different things that we can work on to move society forward. Tip O'Neill had a famously good relationship with Ronald Reagan. Teddy Kennedy had a famously good relationship with senators like Orrin Hatch and even George W. Bush. And these are statesmen and women, and I think we need to get back to that. Right now, we have our camps, and people digging their heels, and the conversations stop. And I just think that's sad.
I do too.
Yeah. And I don't think sometimes they'll say compromise sometimes becomes this dirty word in politics. And I think that you can remain true to your values and become the best and be and be the best public servant because you are listening to your constituents, and they are telling you that they need they need investment, the kinds of things that you're talking about doing in downtown Haverhill.
Right.
And that's what you need to do.
And the problem is, I think that a lot of elected people feel that they let it get personal.
Yeah.
And you can't let it get personal. You know, when I'm for something, I'm for something. If I vote for something or against something, that doesn't mean that the people that voted the other way that I should hate them.
That's
now.
right. Yeah.
You know, because the next issue we may be together.
Yeah. And I completely exactly. And I think it's this, and I even say this in this race all the time. And polling will tell you in this race that you should be vehemently anti-Trump. When I'm trying to win a Democratic primary, I think it goes without saying that the vast majority of people voting on September 4th are going to be very anti-Trump. But I don't focus on that. I think so badly that if we are going to reclaim hearts and minds as Democrats, we fundamentally have to stand for something and not just against something. So what you're going to hear from me and from my campaign is a more hopeful, more optimistic, more forward-looking vision, understanding that the baseline here is that I'm running for office in large part because Donald Trump was elected president, and I am frustrated that at what I believe is a slow slide is our American values under attack, true American values under attack. But that's not. I want to focus on the positive here, and I want to talk about the policies I want to implement to help the men, women, and children of the 3rd District of Massachusetts. That's what I want to focus on, and I think that's more constructive. And we just got to stand for something.
We got to kind of change it up. Got to change it up.
Absolutely.
And get it working.
Yeah.
It's broken right now.
That's right. And part of that is about talking to each other.
Yeah.
You know?
I agree.
And let's hope. But the cool thing is about 2018 is we're going to have a lot of new congressmen and women. More diverse, different parts of the country. There are going to be a lot of new people. And I think that's a good thing.
Yep.
And if I'm excited about being
I think you'll become one of the leaders. You'll be one of the leaders down there.
I hope so. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
I hope so. And I would say, it's fun. I was actually talking to there are a lot of former Obama guys and women running for office right now. And I was talking with someone in the president's office earlier this week and talking about how we can bring together this kind of new blood of people who are new elected officials, but have that experience in the federal government.
That's right.
And understand what they want to fight for. And that was so exciting. The idea of doing that is very, very exciting to me. So I hope so. But first thing we got to do is knock on doors.
Got to take a break.
Yes, sir.
All right. If you want to knock a few doors, we got a couple of minutes. And all right, we'll be right back. This is Bill Macek on the Open Mic Show, and our guest is Rufus Gifford. He's a candidate for the 3rd Congressional District for Massachusetts in D.C. He wants to go to Congress, and you have to remember to vote on September 4th. Now, I'm going to keep reminding people about that because it is so important that people remember. Mark that in your calendar, in your date book, in your cell phone, wherever you keep your little joggers. September 4th, go to vote, and make sure you do it because it's real important. Keep it right here, too. We are the Open Mic Show every Monday night, 6 to 8 on WHAV 97.9 FM.
Open Mic!
Bill Macek and the new Open Mic will be right back. Get in on the action. Call 978-374-1900. If you're enjoying this program, consider becoming a WHAV member right now. Just click on the membership tab at WHAV.net.
97.9 FM, WHAV.
Catch the wave!
On air or online, 97.9 WHAV serves you. Twice an hour weekdays, keep up to date with exclusive local news and weather. Find out about civic events on Community Spotlight every quarter hour. And better prepare with WAVE weather every 30 minutes. Mass Moments, Melinda's Garden Moment, Soundbeat, and Insight Daily complete the spectrum. Hear classic comedy and drama 7 nights a week at 10 p.m. and 1 a.m. Finally, a unique blend of rock and roll hits from the 60s, 70s, and 80s round out the entertainment. Stay with 97.9 WHAV, the only Haverhill-based news source.
WHAV is saluting local and state canine officers and their four-legged partners in a special series. Listen to the special Dog Days of Summer series at 97.9 WHAV FM. Promoted to the rank of sergeant in June, Andover's Michael Mickey Connor isn't about to part ways with his longtime canine partner Grim anytime soon. In fact, the local canine handler tells WHAV he's getting ready to revamp their Facebook photo series, Where's Grim Wednesday, this fall. The social media series that features photographs of Grim at Andover landmarks and asks residents to guess his location was the brainchild of Lieutenant Greg Scott, whom Connor credits for making the effort a success.
The kids are amazed at it. It was a big thing for the police department. Greg Scott picked up on that. That's the one he asked me to do it, and it's been a great success.
Connor tells WHAV his canine partner, trained in tracking and narcotics detection, has become somewhat of a local celebrity in Andover.
But he's a good photogenic dog, which is amazing. It's a lot of fun. He just goes out and does what he needs to do, take pictures. People see us out and about, and they all want to know if it's Grim.
As his department's sole canine handler, Connor will keep working with Grim until his retirement. Connor told WHAV he's especially grateful to Andover Police Chief Patrick Keefe for allowing his K-9 pal to remain at his side in his new role as sergeant. Chief Keefe did me a favor and let me keep him until he retires, said Connor. He still has life in him, so I want to work with him before he retires and gets to sit on the couch.
Support for Dog Days of Summer on WHAV comes from the law offices of Joseph C. Edwards. Edwards Law Offices, next to the Haverhill Police Station at 60 Bailey Boulevard, is a full-service firm covering criminal cases, automobile injury, domestic relationships and divorce, wills, unemployment, Social Security disability, and other legal matters. The number for appointments is 978-469-1819, or more online at jcedwardslaw.com.
WHAV Open Mic.
From the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, 97.9 WHAV FM presents the new Open Mic Show with Bill Macek. Make your voice heard. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900.
Okay, we are back, and we are here with Rufus Gifford. He's a candidate to go to Congress in the 3rd Congressional District we know as the Nikki Tsongas seat, and he's been working hard to get there. And what are some of your other thoughts? We're kind of
running
about down to 6 minutes,
Yeah.
so we want to hit some of the other high points that you'd like to let people know that are listening or watching.
Sure. Yeah. You know, I would just say this. Look, when I first launched this campaign, I just jumped in my car and we went coffee shop to coffee shop, diner to diner, living room to living room, and we just listened and asked questions and tried to get a sense of this really, as we were talking about earlier, remarkable district that is so diverse in every way, and tried to get a sense of what was really impacting people's lives. And I think you learn so much and you hear stories that break your heart.
Yeah, absolutely.
But ultimately, I think that this is what is the biggest issues in society right now is that wages are not increasing, and at the same time, the cost of health care, the cost of housing, and the cost of education are all increasing above the rate of inflation. So essentially, that means there's more economic anxiety, that people have less money to spend, and costs are spiking. And so that's where we have to focus as a party. And that's where I go back to where I started, which is this: what we need is real political leadership here. We need a New Deal. We need a 21st century New Deal. We need FDR-style leadership to actually try to address some of these big fundamental challenges in society, and also have a realistic conversation with Americans.
Yeah.
That this is not going to be easy.
That's so
that we're going to
important.
need to tighten our belts. Some people the wealthiest Americans are going to have to pay a bit more. This kind of stuff. But I think that we can do this. I think if we don't give Americans enough credit from time to time, people will sacrifice. People understand what's at stake.
Yeah.
And you get that everywhere you
Especially
travel
if
in
they
this
believe
district.
that we're moving in a positive direction.
If they believe in their leadership,
Yeah.
and I believe it, and so that's what we got to focus on.
But you talk about listening, and that's so important too,
Yeah.
is to not just think you know it all.
That's right.
Because you got to listen to people. You know, so I just wrote one last week to some people. I don't do it in every email that I send back to somebody, but I say, you know, thanks for emailing your thoughts to me, because otherwise, you know, I'm just guessing. And, you know, and the one thing that as much as I'd like to figure out how to do it, I will never be able to read minds.
Yeah.
And I sometimes write it in an email, because it's true. People don't let us know how they feel. We're just guessing that we're making the right decision.
That's right.
Or the right move. So it's just so important. And remember, Hillary did a listening tour.
Yeah.
And some people laughed at her. She has nothing to say, so she just wants to listen. No, that's where you find out where people are at.
People's heads are.
Yeah.
I tell you, and it's true. Look, I've had just heartbreaking stories about how, people will grab me on the street. I don't know what political party they are, but they'll tell me a story about how, say, the son was a star pitcher at a local high school, was injured, got elbow surgery, was given a prescription to OxyContin, became a heroin addict, and is now dead. And you just see how the opioid crisis is just plaguing so many communities, knows no race, knows no gender, knows no even socioeconomic class. And you also realize how government has failed in this from time to time in this crisis. So my point here is that if you go and listen, you lead, you put your heart on the table essentially when you walk in. Tell me how I can best serve you. And that's how we're trying. That's how I was an ambassador, honestly, and that's how I want to try to run this campaign. And it's certainly the kind of congressman that I want to be. I will say that what you're left with is the enormous responsibility. I've left a bunch of houses where someone tells me just a heartbreaking story about loss, but he shakes me in the hand, shakes my hand, looks me in the eye, and says, "I'm going to vote for you." Because I believe I trust you. And then you just get goosebumps and you say, man, there's so much responsibility that goes with this job. Yeah. And I guess I want your listeners to know that I don't take that lightly, and that I will do everything I possibly can to fight for and advocate for every single man, woman, and child in this district. I may not always succeed. I think we know that. I may not always succeed, but I'm sure second going to try with all my heart and soul.
It's great to hear.
Yeah.
And all right, so people that have been listening, they know they have to go vote on
September 4th.
But what if they want to help out even more? What if they want to put a lawn sign up, a bumper sticker? I don't know what you have going. Even phone calls. Yeah. Rides to the polls, all that stuff.
So the best thing. So first of all, listen. Yes to all of it. By the way, we're having a day of action this Saturday and Sunday, ending our 10,000 door knocking spree. We'd love to have you sign up. Go to our website. It's rufusgifford.com. Find us on Facebook. Again, Rufus Gifford. Find us on Twitter. It's still Rufus Gifford. You can always send me messages. I respond to them directly. And we have a great campaign team. We have a fantastic group of folks and supporters here in Essex County, as well as Haverhill specifically, that's going to be out knocking on doors. I knocked on about 100 doors in Haverhill earlier today. I'm going to continue to do it. So please say hi to me if you see me out there as well. So we'd love it. So give us a call. Send us an email.
Great plan. Great campaign running. Good luck in the September 4th primary election.
Yes, sir, Bill. Yeah, Thank you so much for having me back. It was a great pleasure.
No, it was great to have you in. Rufus Gifford, running for the congressional seat for the 3rd Massachusetts District. He wants to go to Washington, D.C. If you like what you heard, get out on September 4th. That's really a very important day to vote. Don't wait for the November 4th final. He may not be there if you don't go out and help him on the 4th. So anyway, that's where we're at. We're going to take a pause for the 7 o'clock top of the hour information, but we got 1 hour to go, and we're going to be talking to City Councilor Mary Ellen Daly O'Brien right here on the Open Mic on WHAV 97.9 FM.
Open Mic!
Bill Macek and the new Open Mic will be right back. Get in on the action. Call 978-374-1900. If you're enjoying this program, consider becoming a WHAV member right now. Just click on the membership tab at WHAV.net.
It's 7 o'clock.
WHAV LP Haverhill.
Here's what's happening in local news. The city will pay an estimated $420,000 in interest over 20 years if Haverhill City Councilors agree to a plan to borrow $1.12 million for public spaces around a planned $30 million downtown tower. WHAV, which broke the story last week about a shortfall threatening the 10-story residential and commercial project, has obtained the lending plan. The estimate assumes a bond interest rate of 3.25%. Borrowing costs took center stage during a series of email exchanges between councilors and Mayor Fiorentini late last week. Councilors, led by Council President John Mitchison, peppered the mayor with questions in advance of hearing the plan Tuesday night. Standing firmly in support of the Heights project, Fiorentini also acknowledged developer Salvatore Lupoli has made 2 payments totaling $137,666 toward the $701,000 cost of buying the city's riverfront parking lot. An agreement allows Lipoli to pay up to 5 more annual installments of $112,667 before taking ownership of the land known as the Riverfront Promenade, located between Rent-A-Center and Haverhill Bank on Merrimack Street. Another area of contention is what, if anything, the city will pay to lease Lipoli's other parcel at 192 Merrimack Street for a 2-level parking deck. The mayor responded there is no lease agreement yet, and the city is working on easements. Demolition of the private building, which most recently housed Ocasio's True Martial Arts and a church, was paid from a $2 million state Mass Works grant. WHAV reported last February that Haverhill Purchasing Director Stephen Bacuzzo awarded a $200,000 contract to S&R Construction of Lowell to demolish the single-story building. Costs also included an environmental remediation and site clearance. Because of the state money, the project required a public bid process. Economic Development and Planning Director William Pillsbury told WHAV last week the nearly back-to-back Harbor Place and Lipoli projects forced the city to change boardwalk plans to better integrate the two ventures. Doing so cost the city $548,000 from a different 2015 grant when the state refused to extend a spending deadline. Pillsbury told WHAV, "We did not want to have to build one and not have it compatible with the other." Fiorentini also said bids on the Riverfront Boardwalk extension and parking deck came in higher than expected. Captain Robert Prestoni and Lieutenant Garrett Sarfty were formally sworn into the Superior Haverhill Police Department ranks during a ceremony Friday morning in City Hall. Haverhill Mayor James Fiorentini swore in the longtime officers. Pistone joined the department in July 2000 as a patrolman. He was a Groveland Reserve police officer for 2 years before that. He was one of 232 officers who graduated in June from the FBI National Academy program in Quantico, Virginia. The training included modern crime-solving techniques, advanced communications and leadership training, among other topics. Sarfty is a 15-year veteran of the force, becoming a patrolman in 2003. Earlier, he served as a reserve officer for 2 years. Both men begin their duties July 1st, when the current year's city budget went into effect. Haverhill City Councilors may take final steps Tuesday to ban plastic shopping bags after 6 months of debate. One group supporting the ban is Greater Haverhill Indivisible. Its leaders have asked residents to send letters and emails in support of the ban. The measure will place Haverhill among the 80 Massachusetts cities and towns that regulate single-use plastic shopping bags, as reported by the Sierra Club in July 2018, a suggested letter reads. Contrary to a draft ordinance, the group opposes allowing biodegradable plastic bags to be substituted. The addition of biodegradable plastic bags raises major concerns due to chemicals added to these bags. They don't break down in cold temperatures such as in the ocean, Greater Haverhill Indivisible has said, quoting the Sierra Club. We should especially avoid oxydegradable plastics that are polyethylene with an unnamed chemical additive. Group leaders said most communities do not allow them because paper is such an easy substitute. If passed, the city would provide one reusable bag free to each senior resident. Stores would also be allowed to sell recyclable paper or reusable bags for no less than 5 cents each. A draft ordinance makes certain plastic bags continue to be allowed. Laundry and dry cleaner bags, newspaper wraps, and frozen food, meat, or fish bags would be exempted from the ban. Stores would be fined $100 for the first offense, $200 for the second offense, and $300 for all subsequent offenses within a week period. City inspectors would be granted authority to exempt certain stores if a hardship is identified. The law would be phased in over a 9-month period, depending on the size of the store. Remember, WHAV is the only Haverhill-based news source. There's always more at WHAV.net. From the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, I'm Eric Scott.
From Feature Story News in Washington, I'm Harry Horton. The US is imposing new sanctions on Iran as a result of President Trump's decision to withdraw from a 2015 nuclear deal. Thousands of people have been moved to unaffected areas of the Indonesian resort island of Lombok after a magnitude 6.9 earthquake killed at least 91 people. And French celebrity chef Joël Robuchon, who earned more than 30 Michelin stars, has died at the age of 73.
Wave weather.
Now your wave weather forecast for Haverhill and the Merrimack Valley. Heat advisory remains in effect until Tuesday evening at 8. Very warm temperatures continue tonight with lows eventually falling into the middle 70s with mainly clear skies. Light wind around 5 miles per hour from the southwest. Mainly sunny skies on Tuesday. The hot temperatures could allow an isolated thunderstorm or shower to bubble up in the afternoon. Overall near 97 degrees. Lows drop to 72 Tuesday night, mainly cloudy and an isolated shower. Few showers, maybe a thunderstorm around on Wednesday. High temperatures cooler in the upper 80s. I'm WHAV meteorologist Brian Ivy. Your next wave weather in 30 minutes.
Broadcasting on the Armstrong FM system. This is 97.9 FM WHAV. Broadcasting on the Armstrong FM system. This is 97.9 WHAV.
Catch the wave, WHAV, Merrimack Valley. Open mic.
From the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, 97.9 WHAV FM presents the new Open Mic Show with Bill Macek. Make your voice heard. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900.
Yes, we are back, and it is the 7 o'clock hour. And Rufus Gifford has left. I think he's going out to knock more doors. And we have City Councilor Mary Ellen Daly O'Brien here, my colleague on the council, and
I'm on your left.
Right, and you are the queen, and I am the dean. The
That's
dean
true.
and the queen.
That's true, the dean and the queen.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, I have to say, on my way over, I was listening to Rufus. He brings up a lot of good points that just hit a lot of good notes, and I wish him well. I don't wish him ill. I think he's a really strong candidate.
I think he's a very strong candidate. I think that it's down to 2 or 3 that are really putting the campaign together. There's going to be 10 on the ballot, though, and that's where it's going to splinter. And so the one that can get their vote out, and it may not even that be a large percentage, but if somebody really likes a certain candidate, they really should make sure they get out for the primary election September 4th, the day after Labor Day.
That's
a tough day.
That's tough.
Yeah.
And I don't think it is about the money. I really think you've hit the nail on the head. It's going to be who gets the vote out.
That's right.
And it's going to be a tough. I think a lot of communities are going to have early voting to offset the fact that it's on a Tuesday after
Linda,
a holiday.
our city clerk, said we weren't doing early voting.
I don't know if we are, but I think other communities
are doing
yes.
it? Okay, well, there may be some of that.
Because it's a long weekend. They're starting on
You
Thursday.
can always get a absentee ballot.
Yes.
So even if you can't go in and do early voting, you can always get an absentee if you think you're going to be either hungover or you have to go to work that next day. Well, those are probably the two things that are going to maybe
I have
be obstacles to voting, right?
I have a great reason. I will be camping with my family.
See?
So I have actually considered getting
an absentee ballot.
And Tom and I both will.
Yeah.
We're very proud that we have the 4 daughters that all vote, even when they don't live in Haverhill. They vote where they live, and we're very, very proud of that.
Yeah.
We've never had to inspire them in that way. They came by it naturally because of my father and my mother and Tom's family, and I'm very proud of the fact they vote.
Well, I would think with you being their mother, they would make sure that they vote. And not just in Haverhill, but just because you brought them up within kind of a political household.
And I grew up in that same kind of environment.
Thinking about being a good American in a sense. I mean, you got to vote. Otherwise don't complain. You can't complain if you don't vote.
And it's important to read and listen.
Or at least you shouldn't. Right.
Read and
you
listen.
have to listen.
Listen to different opinions. Read different things. Don't get all your information from one source. That's what is so limiting. And I try to read as much as I can every day.
Well, that's why we do constituent services. I mean, I know you do, and I do a lot of things that not everything goes on the agenda. We're not just working Tuesday night. If you're doing your job as a city councilor, you're pretty much working every day and working on this, working on that, helping this one. There's so many things that we are asked to do, and
sometimes
we
it's just a phone call or
right.
an email to the right person, and it's not even a problem.
Right, and you don't want to say, "Oh, I'll put it on the next agenda." So a week from Tuesday, we'll start that in the pipeline. You get it done in a day.
in less than an hour sometimes.
Right, exactly.
I mean, But, it's funny you should mention that. I was thinking of these very issues this morning when I was on my way to work, because I have a 45-minute commute. And, some of the things we do really spark something in the community.
Yeah.
And I think of a couple of weeks ago, we were grappling with, should we have
a ballot question?
A ballot question. And the truth of the matter is, I put that on as an agenda item because the people who were the most concerned about that issue didn't. So I said, I will put it on. I will put it on the agenda because I wanted to see what does the community feel. It has turned in a way that people thought I was for the ballot. I was neither here nor there about it, quite frankly. I felt that we already had a vote.
You just posted a discussion on the topic.
I posted a discussion on the topic.
That's it.
So, but the other thing I was thinking of is now, I think one of the things we'll touch on tonight is plastic bags.
That's the next hot item.
And
for Tuesday night.
But
tomorrow
there's
night.
So many other things that some of our fellow councilors do that really are meaningful to Haverhill, but don't spark that same public interest.
Right.
And I think it's expected of us to still give those issues, even though they're not hot buttons, the same. And I think of what our council president always thinking about: how can we bring more jobs to Haverhill? What can we do for economic development? Nobody wants to talk about those things, but they are so, so important.
Absolutely.
And, zoning changes, looking at the master plan again and updating the master plan, those are dull things to some people, but they are very important to Haverhill's progress.
For the city and for the people that live in the city.
Very, very important.
Absolutely. So what do you think, plastic bags? I think it's going to pass.
I think it's going to pass.
But I think we should have a discussion. I think, and from initially we were talking, we actually added in after the meeting, the administration, to recommend for the disposable plastic bags.
Well, I call that fake news.
But I think we've since found out.
Yeah, it's not good.
That it's not good.
No, it's not.
So I think we're going to. I would support removing that.
I will too, and I think it's kind of funny because it was like, we heard the buzzword that it would be more biodegradable,
right?
And then it turns out that the polymers that make those have problems too. So instead of taking 800 years, they only take 400 years.
Right, and also if they get in the ocean, the ocean's too cold, they'll never break down, and there's a little more information has come forward.
Yes.
Because you can only deal with the information you have at hand, and that's why we sometimes evolve, right?
Yes.
Because we learned something. You can only deal with that information.
There was an excellent program on this very subject yesterday on CBS Sunday Morning, and there is a gentleman who is trying. He was a recycling company who's trying to go the next step and figure out. It's more labor intensive how you can really reuse a lot of these plastics. And this is a new industry that I hope really takes off. One of the things we're concerned about is the fact that we're doing recycling, but there's no place for it to go.
Right, and that's one thing that we're going to get more information on tomorrow night, and we should talk about that. But right now, at 1:15, we have to take a break. Okay, so we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back on the open mic. I want to also remind everybody that we have open lines anytime. Whenever we have a guest, even if you have a question for the guest, call in 978-374-1900. That's the number to dial to get on the open mic if you have a comment or a question. And we'll be right back. It's the Dean and the Queen, or the Queen and the Dean. We should put you first, Mary Ellen. All right. So it's the Queen and the Dean.
Well, you do have a little more experience than me.
One term, I think.
I think one term.
Yeah. But anyway, we're coming back here. It's the Open Mic Show on WHAV 97.9 FM.
Open Mic.
Bill Macek and the new Open Mic will be right back. Get in on the action. Call 978-374-1900. If you're enjoying this program, consider becoming a WHAV member right now. Just click on the membership tab at WHAV.net.
97.9 FM, WHAV.
Catch the wave. WHAV.
Melinda's Garden Moments help gardeners create and maintain a healthy, beautiful garden with ease, inside or out, and all year long. This is Melinda Myers, inviting you to tune in every weekday morning, right here on WHAV. You'll learn creative ways to grow your own vegetables and herbs while beautifying your landscape. Eco-friendly lawn care, flower garden design basics, unique container gardens, attracting birds and butterflies to the landscape, and much more. Again, please join me weekday mornings for Melinda's Garden Moment for a very environmentally friendly approach to gardening. Remember, only local radio can bring you this feature opportunity, but only WHAV does.
Community Spotlight.
Residents of Plastow, get ready to rock. The town's annual summer concert series is Wednesdays, offering tunes from the 70s and 80s, starting at 6 p.m. on the Town Hall Green. Concerts are weekly, weather permitting, through the first week of September. There is no concert on July 4th. All shows are free and open to all. A full list of scheduled acts are available at WHAV.net. Someone you know is on WHAV. To submit or read your own nonprofit announcements, click on the Contact tab at WHAV.net. or email news@whav.net. In the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, I'm Eric Scott.
Open Mic!
From the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, 97.9 WHAV FM presents the new Open Mic Show with Bill Macek. Make your voice heard. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900.
Bill Macek here on the Open Mic, and my guest this hour is Mary Ellen Daly O'Brien, my colleague on the City Council. And we're talking about city stuff, but we'll talk about whatever anybody wants to call in and discuss. And we could talk about recreational marijuana if they want to talk about it, because it's something that's coming to Haverhill.
Yep.
We just had an administration and finance meeting on Saturday morning when the four members of the committee, myself, yourself, and Colin LePage and Melinda Barrett, we got together and we started to create what we feel would be the best locations for recreational marijuana locations throughout the city for retail. But we also discussed the associated marijuana things such as delivery,
processing,
cultivation, processing. You know, so that we have started to bake that cake.
And that's what we said we were going to do.
Yeah, and we came up, I think, with a lot of good locations, and we'll narrow them down. We'll get opinions from the different departments.
I think we spread it out across the city.
Right.
And no one area is targeted.
No. But the state is telling us we have to have 6 retail locations with reasonable expectation that somebody could go there and find a property to lease or buy.
Develop.
So, yeah. So it's going to be interesting.
It will be interesting.
Yeah.
And you know what? I would love to hear a caller or two about how they do feel about plastic bags, the single-use plastic bags, because so far I can tell you I have only gotten one email to the negative.
And if I got that email, it's been late afternoon because I haven't gotten any.
No, it was something that came from it came through my election website.
Okay.
It didn't come to my normal city council.
It seems as though the city is very much in support of doing the environmentally correct
and
thing.
I think the next step will be looking, I think, as a Commonwealth. This is going to lead to the Commonwealth really coming forward. Massachusetts has always been a progressive state, whether it comes to dealing with problems like pollution or health care or education.
And we're looking at, we're not the first in Massachusetts to do this. We're at least 81, I think, where there's 80 other communities that have already adopted a plastic bag ban. And we're also, it's only for the larger stores, small. So there are some conditions in it.
And I can see eventually that it's going to hit things like straws, stirrers. You know, what's wrong with going back to paper straws? What's wrong with going back
to what I grew up with
wooden stirrers?
I want the sleeve that has 2 paper straws in it, though. You remember that?
Yes, yeah.
Was, 2 little ones was pretty cool.
Yeah. And then you didn't have to worry about them getting too soggy.
That's right. All right, we're going to take a call right now on the open mic. Hello, caller. Are you there?
Yes, this is Dr. Gerard Boucher.
Hello, doctor.
Yeah.
How are you?
Thank you, Bill, for everything, and Mary Ellen for everything you do for the city.
Thank you.
I know it's not easy, and it's a lot of work, especially if you're dedicated.
Well,
and I don't want to get into the marijuana situation. I think they opened up a can of worms. However, I'd like to ask you a question about what do you say to people that don't vote? A lot of them never did, and they say they still have the right to complain and do anything say anything they want because that's the freedom of speech, whether they vote or not.
I say that's their opinion.
Right. They're entitled to that opinion.
They can have that opinion.
But, you know, the old saying is if you don't vote, you can't complain. And I don't know. I mean, if somebody has a complaint, I'd like to hear it. Maybe we can help them through it. Right, Mary Ellen?
Yeah. And it's their opinion.
That's all.
You know, I have a lot of people that approach me at all different places in Haverhill. The deli line at Market Basket seems to be a favorite. And over in produce, because you are slower. See, you've slowed down. So,
right.
And I don't ever ask anybody if they vote or not. That never crosses my mind.
I don't either. No.
I think that if they want to ask me a question or talk about something going on in the city, that's what I'm there for.
That's the way I feel, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Well, the thing I say to them is if you vote, then you want to be more concerned and more knowledgeable, educated about who's running and what they do and how they're going to help the system. And the ones that don't vote probably don't even care, but they still like to bitch and complain about it.
Yeah, well, you're right, Doctor. But you know what I think is that the world is just spinning so fast that a lot of people don't have time to keep up. So they have to rely on their elected officials to try to make the right decisions. But still, we can't read minds, so they have to tell us once in a while. And we are getting feedback on the marijuana issue that we had a couple of weeks ago for discussion. We got a lot of feedback.
We got a lot of feedback.
Right. So and we responded in kind to what they wanted. They said, "Hey, look, we voted for this, and we've already stated what we want." And the other thing is that was probably the largest voter turnout that we've had in a long time. It was the presidential election, so it was a bigger sampling than if we were to put it on this November's ballot.
And I would say the reaction we got from the community when I put that on the agenda, it was like 8-2 for.
Right.
8-2.
Yeah. That's
it was a lot of emails.
And then when you see the Caroline Pino presentation and what the state is requiring for these shops to do to make sure that they're safe, that the people going in are who they say they are. They're going to be checking IDs one at a time, locked doors. It's really a safe and secure system.
The investment in the property is going to be substantial.
Absolutely.
This is not like putting up, for example, a Domino's. This is not like that.
Right.
This is going to be very high tech. It's got a lot of regulatory sides to
Probably
it.
got as much security as a bank. It may be more in this day and age.
And well, one of the problems is
cameras and
they can't deposit their money in a federally funded bank.
Yeah, but I guess there's some Massachusetts. They're working on that, but there's
right.
Massachusetts-based banks, I guess, that will help assist with that.
Right,
so
right.
they're getting
So-
over that hump.
But that's a big consideration.
The stuff is still, unfortunately. Washington once again can't get their act together to even decriminalize marijuana.
Oh my! I can't start talking about those people.
Well, you know what, Doctor? We I think Mary Ellen and I both feel the same. Especially medical marijuana really can be a help to people as they age and have certain issues.
And it's really the product
right.
that comes from marijuana. Because basically, doctor, let's face it, nobody should smoke anything. It doesn't matter whether it's marijuana or a cigarette or anything. You really shouldn't smoke. So the way that they prepare the medical is by mouth.
Right.
By an oil,
smoked,
it's a rub.
Right.
It's usually either ingested
and is it
or
the CBD itself? Is that what because they're selling CBD? I get the emails all the time, and they say that there's no THC in it, so you don't get high from it.
You're not getting high.
You just get the pain relief, the medicinal relief.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, I agree with both of you, and my supper's ready, and I'm getting hungry.
Okay.
I want to pray and hope.
What's for dinner?
We're going to have somebody replace the wonderful, profound Nikki songers that we had for so many years.
Yes,
I know.
She's gonna be
We'll miss Nikki. She's done a lot, especially for veterans, which you're a big
veteran, 100%.
right. You're a big supporter of veterans yourself, and
thank you very much.
And we got to make sure that whoever takes over carries that ball just like she has. In their own way.
Right.
Well, she was the service
Nice
child.
Thanks, Jerry. Enjoy your dinner.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Fresh tomatoes
Thanks for calling.
ready now.
Okay. Fresh tomatoes.
Really, I go to the farmer's market every weekend if I'm in town. And last weekend was a rain out.
Right.
And they switched everything underneath the
Yeah.
deck very
That
smoothly.
worked out good?
It was great. I would encourage anyone, does rain or shine, that farmer's market is one of the best. And when I talk to the people who are participating, they all say Haverhill is one of their favorite places to come.
Nice.
Because we have a consistent crowd that comes all the time.
Yeah.
And you can't beat the vegetables and the
Right, and they're
different
all
products.
locally grown in the area, and
There's
we want to help
goods.
support all of those people that are from the area.
We
So-
have all kinds of really interesting products. And one of my favorites is the guy that sharpens your knives.
Yeah?
I brought some down about a month ago, and my knives, I brought them down 9 knives, and was short money, $24. My knives are cutting like butter.
All right. Okay.
It's awesome.
All right. So what else? Well, what else? We're talking about the Sal Lapoli 10-story building.
Oh, yes.
A little bit tomorrow night too, because
Yes.
there's a
Troubles.
request coming from the mayor for us to assist in partnering for that project. But
I need more
I
information.
think we're going to get some. I understand. I haven't seen it, but I hear that they're going to somewhat justify their request for a $1.1 million bond for infrastructure, because I guess that they also underthought that, or the original bid
I
was
think
3 years ago.
My biggest concern is that this is for a garage that's going to be primarily used by his property only. Because there won't be enough for everybody. You're not
See,
going to be
these are
getting
the
a lot
things-
of people off of Merrimack Street, and that's what bothers me.
Right. I want to see.
I want to hear more information.
I want to see some of the dots connected.
Mhm.
It's too loosey-goosey right now, and I think we can do it, but it's time now to talk turkey.
I doubt it will be decided.
Not tomorrow night. No. I'm not sure we're going to vote on the.
And we shouldn't.
on the money tomorrow night. Although-
These are these issues
Right.
where you can't
I
make a
agree.
snap decision.
Right.
It's just impossible. And people think government works slowly, but that's because sometimes gathering the information we need to make a good decision takes a little time.
It does. I also something else I say to a lot of the people is I just want to remind you the wheels of government turn very slow, so I'll do this as fast as I can, but
And it's been proven historically, in my time on city council, some of the snap decisions we made, we had to reverse in short order because they weren't vetted the way they should have been.
well, I think we can do this right, but we may need a little bit of time to just figure it out.
Mhm.
And I know that we'll work on that,
Yep.
and so will the
Yep.
rest of the council. But it's also going to require the mayor and other department people, and
I bet it will
our,
come
our
to
city solicitor.
administration
And
of-
it might it does it
We'll be
everything.
back to our committee.
Yeah, well, I like being on that committee.
I do
though.
too.
Yeah.
I do too.
Hey, you know what? It's that time. It's 7:30, so we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back. Bill Macek and Mary Ellen Daly O'Brien, a couple of city councilors talking city stuff right here. The Queen and the Dean for another half hour on WHAV 97.9 FM.
Open mic.
Bill Macek and the new Open Mic will be right back. Get in on the action. Call 978-374-1900. If you're enjoying this program, consider becoming a WHAV member right now. Just click on the membership tab at WHAV.net.
It's 7:30.
Public radio for Greater Haverhill. This is 97.9 WHAV.
AutoFair Subaru of Haverhill has been an active member in the community for years. It's proud to partner with great organizations like Veterans Northeast Outreach Center, Make-A-Wish Foundation, and Katydid Foundation of Haverhill. These selfless charities are vital to our community, and AutoFair takes great pride in helping. AutoFair Subaru encourages everyone to see what they can do to help make our city and the surrounding areas a better place for everyone. There's a list of supported charities at autofairsubaru.com.
Catch the wave.
Here's good news for you Gildersleeve fans.
Yes, folks, this is Gildersleeve. This summer, whether you're at the beach, the mountains, or right in your own backyard, you'll be able to hear us every Wednesday night at the usual time. We'll be on the air all summer.
Every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. and 1 a.m. on WHAV.
Wave weather.
Now your wave weather forecast for Haverhill and the Merrimack Valley. Heat advisory remains in effect until Tuesday evening at 8. Very warm temperatures continue tonight with lows eventually falling into the middle 70s with mainly clear skies. Light wind around 5 miles per hour from the southwest. Mainly sunny skies on Tuesday. The hot temperatures could allow an isolated thunderstorm or shower to bubble up in the afternoon. Overall near 97 degrees. Lows drop to 72 Tuesday night, mainly cloudy and an isolated shower. Few showers, maybe a thunderstorm around on Wednesday. High temperatures cooler in the upper 80s. I'm WHAV meteorologist Brian Ivy. Your next wave weather in 30 minutes.
WHAV Open Mic.
From the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, 97.9 WHAV FM presents the new Open Mic Show with Bill Macek. Make your voice heard. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900.
Back again on the Open Mic, Bill Macek and Mary Ellen Daly O'Brien. We can talk about city stuff. We can talk about anything that people want to talk about. 978-374-1900. We have open lines tonight, and we are just chatting about whatever happens to come up. So what else is going on?
Well, I'm eternally grateful almost every day that I don't have to be in the council in Methuen.
Oh, I say that to people too.
I feel
people
so
ask,
bad.
how's the city doing? I said, well, not too bad. We could be Methuen.
That is a challenging subject.
Yeah.
That is a very challenging subject.
Hey, the producer just said we have a birthday call. I should announce that we're in a new month now. We want calls for people that have birthdays or anniversaries in the month of September. And if they call in, we put their name and information into our cowboy hat. And then on the last Monday of the month, we will then draw out, and they get a free birthday cake from Albie D's Second Generation Italian Bakery in Bradford Square.
I want to see that cowboy hat.
You want to see the cowboy hat?
I do.
Is the hat there, Chris? Mary Ellen doesn't believe we have a cowboy hat.
I have no faith.
There you go.
There
see?
it is. Yep. Saddle up, partner.
Nothing but the truth from me.
Yep.
I'm telling you. I'm not making it up. We really do this. So we have a caller. We're going to get some information on somebody. Hello, caller. Are you there?
I'm here, and Jack always called that the Chinese cowboy hat because it was made in China.
Well, I haven't checked the label, but he's probably right. Isn't everything? But no, we got a lot more stuff being made in our own country now, so that's a good thing.
Well, that's good. I have a cowboy hat that was made in Texas.
Yes, my husband does too.
That's good.
Stetson.
Mine's a Resistol.
That's good to know. All of the uniforms for the military, I think, have to be made in this country. I think everything they wear is supposed to be U.S. made. So that's a good thing. So who's your birthday or anniversary person?
This one is going to be Kelly.
Kelly, okay.
And Kelly was a winner last year.
Okay. All right, well, that's long enough, so we'll still let her into the contest. Now, are you related to Kelly?
No,
I'm prying a little bit here. I just like to do. Is there anything embarrassing you can say about Kelly?
I put her name in every year.
Okay.
And last year, she was one.
Okay, good. Well, that's good. Maybe she'll win two. Maybe she'll start a streak 2 years in a row.
So.
All right. So. Now, did she get the cake? Did you get any of the cake last year?
No.
No, she didn't share it with you, huh? Even though you put her name in. Did she enjoy the cake?
But I put in enough entries that somebody might,
All right. Okay. Well, Kelly's in the drawing then. So
Kelly's in the drawing.
Kelly's in, and we thank you. Go ahead.
Speaking of the plastic bags.
Yeah.
And I've been using these plastic bags for years to line my waste baskets at home.
Yeah, well,
And, if we don't get those anymore, what are we going to use?
Well, actually, you know what? It's funny that you should bring that up because I'm a camper and I have to use plastic bags to dispose of stuff when you're in a campground. And there's actually online, Amazon or whatever you want to use, they sell every kind of bag you can imagine for very, very little money if you want a certain size bag. Because the big problem with these is that they are suffocating our waterways, whether you're talking oceans, seas, rivers, lakes. And that affects our sea life, our birds, our ocean or water mammals. It's become such a problem that lining our trash barrels or our waste baskets at home, I think, have to take a back seat to saving a planet. It's the only planet we have. We're trying to find more and more ways of getting rid of what's out there now. Last week, there was pictures in the news of something happened to some kind of trash container off of the Dominican. And they had waves of trash, and it was all plastics.
Really?
And it went on for days. And they were collecting tons every day. Did you see that, sir? Did you see that on TV?
Yep.
I mean, let's wake up and smell the coffee. This is a worldwide problem. Haverhill is only doing their bit. But I hope by joining the other 81 communities in Massachusetts that have already done it, and one by one, state by state, we're going to make a difference, and maybe we can be the leaders of figuring out how to recycle these materials and use them for the good.
Right. And maybe people will shift over and use paper bags in their
I love
baskets.
paper bags.
Right.
Well, that's what we grew up with.
Yes,
Right, exactly.
And we could use them to cover our books when we went to school.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Yeah, remember that?
Multi-purpose.
Multi-purpose, and those bags had heft. They had
You and I were
heft.
in the same grade primary classroom, and I remember those brown paper
Book covers. Yeah.
had sponsors on them.
Yeah.
And nobody went and bought book covers.
No.
Didn't have to.
No. You made them at home.
Scott Jewelers? Trying to think who.
I think Bourne's was on one.
Bourne's, yeah.
Bourne's.
Yeah, Bourne's
and
Card Shop, yeah.
the Carol's Gifts.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe Grads.
Maybe.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, let's face it.
People will, and one of the problems we have right now is the Chinese will not take our recyclables. They used to take barge loads of U.S. recyclables, not just Haverhill, but
because they really weren't doing anything with them.
Right.
There was a documentary about the trash in
just piling
people
it up.
were living in it.
Yeah.
With their children, the underprivileged were living in mounds of trash. I mean, that's.
But tomorrow night at the City Council, Councilor LePage has put together some people to speak to us about what we need to do to deal with our recycling. And one of the things that I heard from our DPW director, Michael Stankovich, he told me that the state is actually already starting to set up to create new recycling businesses in Massachusetts, which will create jobs, and it will be proper handling of those recyclable materials.
And again, when you recycle, you're making another product out of it,
right,
that is usable,
right,
and there is a profit center
reusable.
for that.
So it's all good. So I know, okay, it's a pendulum swinging, so maybe it's off to the side right now, and we got little issues, but we're going to get it fixed. We'll figure it out. That's what Americans do.
And one of the things we have to remember is when you're going to recycle something, you have to clean it. It can't be dirty. And that's another problem. When they go through this, when we send out recyclables, they have to toss to the side everything that has food products on it and things like that.
Right.
So,
one of the things
it's a learning curve.
I know that I've heard that from the mayor on down that we want to start better educating Haverhill people about what they can recycle, how they have to clean it before they put it in the recycling bin. But
sometimes I wonder,
we'll get that done.
Am I supposed to recycle this or just toss it in the trash?
And actually, you can look at it. look it up online. I mean, you can Google. I mean, it's all that information is out there. It's at our fingertips now. So whenever you wonder, does this tuna can go in there, or does this plastic jar of mayonnaise?
Right, but you got to get the tuna and the mayonnaise out. You know,
yeah, and rinse,
because you can't put it in dirty. Yeah, so those are things that people have to become aware of. And I hope there's a spirit.
Yes.
For people, I know that my family is. We're big recyclers.
I don't even have a bag of trash a week.
Yeah, no, the trash
and
is
I have
like
3 containers
minimal,
of recyclables.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so we got to keep with it because it's all good stuff for our environment, for our world.
Well, the recycling is every 3 weeks, and I mean every 2 weeks. So that's why I think I have 3 containers.
Could be.
Yeah, I mean,
you may be right.
Yeah,
because it builds up.
It builds up over the 3 weeks. It's not like I would love it.
But still,
if it was
I bet
week,
you know we're at least probably 50% of stuff that we could trash goes in recycling. I think.
Well, remember when we were kids and when we finished a jug of milk, we brought it back to the store.
Or
that's right.
If you had a milkman,
right,
your mother rinsed out and put it in the container.
Put it right.
Yeah,
left it on the porch.
Yeah, it was in a. Well, I know. Well, I was the oldest of 5 kids, so we had delivered twice a week 8 gallons of milk twice a week.
That's a lot of milk.
We drank milk instead of water.
Yeah.
If we were thirsty.
Yeah.
Oh my.
There was no bottled water.
Oh no, there was no bottled water, and we'd open that refrigerator.
Drink the tap water.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, when I moved out, my family reduced buying 7 gallons a week to 2.
See, you're the big milk drinker too.
And that was whole milk.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was whole milk.
Peanut butter with it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing like an Oreo cookie and a glass of cold milk.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, that was living.
Yeah, used to.
Or a cake.
It really was.
Cake. My mother's cake.
Didn't it stink when you held it in the glass too long and the bottom broke off?
I
that
hated
was
that.
so
I had to get a
disappointing.
spoon,
I know.
yeah.
Then you had to spoon it out. We're talking
a
about
lifetime
stuff
ago. A lifetime ago.
Any young kids listening going, what are they talking about?
Listen, life before there was a McDonald's.
Yeah.
Can you believe it?
Yeah. You remember the first fast food in Haverhill?
Was it?
Howdy Beef Burger?
Yes, that's it. You got it.
On Winter
Howdy's,
Street?
which is now Dunkin' Donuts.
Was it the one on Winter Street?
Yeah.
Yeah, the corner of Harrison and Winter.
That's correct. Yeah.
What year was that put there?
Oh, I don't know. I was a little kid, but I remember the burgers were 15 cents. The fries were like...
you had that rotating sign.
Right. The fries were like 7 or 8 cents. You didn't need much more than a quarter to get a meal.
The root beer place take over after that? Was it a root beer?
No, Mediterranean went there.
Mediterranean.
Yeah, but in between the Howdy and wasn't there...
Was there an A&W there?
An A&W. I think there was an A&W
Yeah.
there, and then it became Mediterranean.
Okay,
I don't remember an A&W in Haverhill.
I don't either, but maybe
listen,
a little bit.
I thought there was. I could be crazy. I grew up way on Main Street, so we didn't get downtown much.
Well, see, you had a
I was
Wasmackos.
in the backwoods.
You had a Wasmackos, right?
We had the
walking distance.
Wasmackos.
But I had one too because I grew up at the bottom of 9th Avenue.
So you had the one.
We had the one with
Primrose.
on Primrose,
Yeah.
the little one.
Yeah, we had the really popular one. Way up on Main Street, and we had Al's Pizza.
Al's Pizza, yeah,
which was phenomenal.
I remember, yeah.
And we had.
And they had one on Al's was on Water Street.
And then we
on
had
the corner of the building that had Elite's bowling.
Revel's Old Red Mill.
Remember Elite's bowling alley on the second floor, and in the first floor was Sears and Roebuck.
Like I said, I didn't get downtown much.
Oh, okay, all right.
I was living in the woods.
Yeah, you were.
I was living in the woods.
You were up there.
There was nothing. I remember delivering papers with my brothers had the route, and we would deliver papers on 125, and there was horse farms.
Yeah.
And cows.
Yeah, I remember when you'd cross into Plasto. On the left side was Walsh's General Store and the Pine Tree Gift Shop, and that was it.
No. There was Glenn's Market.
Oh, that's right, there was.
And Simon's.
Yes, that's
Simon's,
right.
the first department store in Plasto.
Yeah.
Simon's.
Yeah, they moved from Haverhill.
And what was the first department store in in Haverhill.
Was it J.M. Fields?
It was J.M. Fields at
And
the,
then
at the
Mal's.
Haverhill Plaza.
And then Mal's.
Mal's on Hilldale Avenue. Marvelous Mal, your
Yep.
dollar pal.
Listen, I knew all those commercials
Yeah.
from WHAV.
That's right.
I could sing the whole WHAV jingle.
That's right.
I knew them all.
Yeah.
Is it going to be cold? Is it going to be hot?
King
We need
Davis.
to know.
King Davis. I bet you could sing that one.
Oh, yeah, King Davis, the king of real estate?
Yeah.
Andy Moss.
Andy Moss.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, we got to take another break. We got to take a break. We're a little bit over our quarter of. It's 7:46 right now.
Fun talking to you.
Nice talking with you. Thanks for calling in.
Take care, folks.
Okay. All right. And this is the open mic. I'm Bill Macek. Mary Ellen Daly O'Brien is here. She's on the city council. I am too. And we're talking a lot of local political stuff that's coming up.
Yeah.
But that's good. So if anybody has any political questions, they can call in. We got about 13, 14 minutes left. But first, we have to take a break on the open mic on WHAV 97.9 FM.
Open mic.
Bill Macek and the new open mic will be right back. Get in on the action. Call 978-374-1900. If you're enjoying this program, consider becoming a WHAV member right now. Just click on the membership tab at WHAV.net.
Stay informed each day with local news coupled with FSN's worldwide coverage. 97.9 WHAV is the only Haverhill-based news source. There's always more at WHAV.net.
Catch the wave.
Would it surprise you to know radio still reaches more than 90% of people in every age group every week? It's a fact. And 97.9 WHAV FM's target audience averages 92%. While other media are cutting back, area residents turn to WHAV for local news, information, and entertainment they cannot find elsewhere. Add what has been called the halo effect of public radio, and listeners find business messages more credible and trustworthy than other forms of advertising. For a no-obligation assessment about how WHAV can help your business reach more people than all other local media combined, call 978-374-1900 or visit WHAV.net.
WHAV Open Mic.
From the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, 97.9 WHAV FM presents the new Open Mic Show with Bill Macek. Make your voice heard. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900.
Well, Mary Ellen, we are back. We're getting close to 8 o'clock, and it's going to all end right there. We only can go till 8.
I know.
You know, but it's been a good hour so far. We've had some calls and a lot of good topics. What's left? What are we going to talk about?
You know, I'm surprised when people comment on watching the city council meetings on Tuesdays.
Isn't it a surprise sometimes people say, "Oh, I watch you every Tuesday
Yeah.
night," or "I like what you said Tuesday night," and you would never say
Because
that.
we don't
You never think that person watched.
Well, we don't have that many people in the audience unless it's something really
Right.
a real
That
hot
brings
one.
them in, but they have it. They can watch it in their living room,
and they
So-
can listen.
and they do.
And they
which
can
is
listen.
Really, it's you know, it's part of the reason I want to continue doing this show, and the reason I wanted to do it is because I want Haverhill to have a good political pulse.
I
and I'm
agree.
trying to build that back.
And I think one of the
Bill
things,
Pike was the master. Bill Pike was on 5 nights a week, and he talked
Yes.
about local stuff.
And I think there's been a culture of negativity my entire life. I've heard people be negative about stuff in Haverhill. And I made a vow that if I was going to be a counselor, I was going to be a cheerleader for Haverhill. And when I go places, like when we were interested in building that garage down in the Railroad Square area, I think for 3 years, every place my husband and I traveled to, I looked at parking garages.
I did that for a while, too.
I mean, because, you know, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can get really good ideas from other people. And that way, when the project actually came to us as this is what we're voting for,
Right.
this is what we're going to finance, you had a good idea of what you were looking at.
Right.
And how it should be structured to for the best advantages. And now we're going to be looking at doing more in the Merrimack Street area, possibly doing something else.
Well, I want to
that
review and do almost a comprehensive overhaul of our paid parking.
Oh yeah,
because it's just not working. It's like clunky.
Well, we have equipment that doesn't work.
Right,
That's
we
the
have
biggest
equipment
problem.
that doesn't work, and I don't want more kiosks. I think we have to figure out a better way.
Yes,
be it
I agree.
meters.
I
I
think
could
smart
honestly show
meters.
you in my cell phone recently. I took some pictures in Connecticut of meters as to what they were doing. Just
And-
I know what you're talking about. You go to other places and
I want the
find out what
meters
they're doing.
that can have bicycles hooked up to them. I
Well,
think
on the
encouraging,
poles, yeah,
yes,
yeah.
encouraging that other type of transportation.
Absolutely, yeah.
Let's be friendly to our cyclists and be a city that welcomes people who use different modes of travel.
And they don't have to pay. They just can hook up.
No, they're just
Right,
hooked up, and
right.
it's a safety thing.
Right.
And for them.
And so unfortunately, in this day and age, so they don't get stolen. Somebody has
Right.
a nice bicycle
I
that
mean, they'll
costs
take their tires.
hundreds of dollars.
Yeah, they'll take their tires
I know.
and seats and
but
everything.
there's ways to deal with that and
But-
to assist the people that do want to ride their bike so that they don't have to worry when they go in to do something in a store or have a meal or whatever they're doing.
And as I said earlier to Rufus on his way out, one of the things I have loved about our city council through the years has been the etiquette and the civility. Even if we disagree, it's never personal, whether it's in that chamber, on TV, on the air, or when we leave the room. You know, this going at each other and becoming personal, I really don't understand that whole way of operating, because when I think of what goes on above us, not necessarily in our state house, I don't see that's...
Well, or in Washington, D.C.
But when we look at Washington, D.C., and the fact that people...
They're dysfunctional. They don't even want to talk. They just want to...
I'll look at the other person.
One side's against the other side. It's not right. Got to work together.
You got to work together.
And that's what we do. And sometimes we'll have different ideas, and sometimes we'll kind of mold them and come out with a better mousetrap in a sense. So we've a little of this, a little of that, and we meet in the middle someplace, and that's the way to get things done.
Absolutely, and get them done to a satisfactory way.
Right.
And listen, not all Mary Ellen's ideas are the ideas that work out, and I'm fine with that. I just want to be part of the dialogue. I want to be part of the decision making, and I love the back and forth that goes on, the collaboration, I call it.
Right.
It's collegial collaboration, and it's never, ever in a negative personal way.
Nope.
And I'm so proud of that. It's really been a pleasure.
And other cities and towns don't have that. I
No
think
kidding.
we're very fortunate that we are able to respect one another enough to discuss and have a difference of opinion, try to find some way that it comes together.
And we don't encourage it when we have an audience of, proponents and opponents.
Right.
We do not encourage that behavior inside our city council chambers either. Yeah. We don't need to imitate what's going on TV.
No. And I think it's also, and I want to say, because I think it's important that, the listeners and the viewers know that we are all our own people.
Oh, yes.
Many things we don't discuss. We don't have
I don't even see you.
backroom politics until we go into the meetings.
I know. I'm working on it.
It's during the committee meetings. If something
Yes.
gets sent to a committee, that's when we kind of make
See each other.
sausage.
But
yeah.
But no, I
With
don't.
the ingredients.
I don't see anybody from the council unless I run into you arbitrarily.
Right. But we still
no.
have good rapport.
We have really, really good rapport.
And all for the benefit, pushing forward positively.
Yep. It's looking for what is best for Haverhill. And, you're so right about the parking. This has got to be, because right now it's not supporting itself, and it should support itself in more.
Right.
In more.
Unfortunately,
and for
it's
some
not-
reason
it's
or
not doing
other,
that.
I don't understand why you can walk 3 or 4 blocks in Boston, but you can't in Haverhill. I walk from the garage over to Washington Street to have dinner at the Hidden Pig. Am I crazy that I walked all that way?
Gee, 2 blocks.
Woo.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I sometimes have an umbrella because it's raining.
Yes. Unfortunately, my umbrella doesn't like to go out in the rain.
And
I leave it at home all the time. Forget it.
I don't want to date myself, but I'm not a young woman, and if I can walk it, I can't. It's that whole thing of people want it like right there, right
it's
there.
all level. It's level.
Oh, yeah,
right?
it's very level, and you know what? It gives you a chance to take a look at the city.
Fresh
the
air.
Trains come and go.
Yeah.
It's
we got a pretty cool downtown.
We do.
You know, I think we deserve probably more credit than most people give us. You know, for having the kind of walking downtown, especially right now, especially Washington, Wingate,
it's lovely.
Granite. You know, that area is
And
just
the
so
outdoor
cool.
dining. Whether you're talking like we have the new Shoe City beach that is doing outdoor dining down there on Wingate Street.
Right.
We have the Hidden Pig with their big deck. We know the Tap has their deck. We know.
I mean, how many communities can you park your car once and then you
Do
can
all those
go
things.
eat, you can go hear different types of music. I mean, it's just a really cool downtown.
Yep, it really is.
And we need to keep nurturing that.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
Hey, it's 7:56, almost 7:57, Mary Ellen. We're coming to a close here. I think we should just remind people that we will be having a city council meeting tomorrow night. We're on summer schedule, and we have plastic bag ban
Yes.
on the agenda.
It will be a slow rollout.
It's like 6 months, I think,
Yeah.
before it really,
Yeah.
is starting to take effect. And even then, the smaller establishments are under 3,000 square feet, is it?
And honestly,
Won't
I
have to-
travel 2 days a week to Beverly,
Yeah.
going down out through 97 to 95 to Route 62. 2 days a week I go to Lowell. I go out 495, 213 to 93 to 110.
Yeah.
I go along the river. I see at least 3 bags in trees or bushes a ride.
What do you call them?
Urban tumbleweeds.
Urban tumbleweeds. Trees.
I gotta tell you though,
That's so funny.
I stole that title from my daughter number 2, who's an emergency room nurse down there in Merrimack Valley. She gave me that when she was going to college at UMass Boston, because that was what they called them at school, urban tumbleweeds.
Well, it's funny, but it also makes a point.
It does make a point.
Yeah.
That people throw stuff out the window all the time.
I know. You know, when you stop coming off the highway or even some stop signs at certain locations, it's like, what are these people, pigs? You know,
I know.
you see all kinds of trash and debris. I get it in front of my house, people driving by, and
we do too.
They just wing stuff out the window.
We're in the Highlands, and people, because we're on a busy street, Webster Street, that's a cut through.
Yeah.
To Summer or to Route 110 Canosa,
Yeah.
we get a lot of trash.
Well, I'm kind of on
I'm
a
always
curve,
telling my
and I think
husband
that
to
people
stop
think
leaving his nips out there.
Okay.
His nips and his dog poop.
We don't have time here, Mary Ellen. We're gonna. I don't want to go there, but
Beer cans.
Yeah, okay.
Stop it, honey.
But I think it's important to be responsible with your trash.
Yes.
Right.
You can use my trash barrels. They're right there.
Yeah, that's right. Wait till
it's
what
an
night?
inner
What
city
night
house.
should they come by your house?
Wednesdays.
Wednesday night.
Wednesday night.
The
you can
trash
dump all
is
the
out.
trash
you
you
can
want.
just fill it to the top. Don't
Yep.
let the covers stick up though,
No,
because
no.
you'll get a warning.
I know. I haven't yet.
Yeah, no, I haven't
All
either.
clear.
No. All right. Well, it's been great, Mary Ellen. Thanks for
Thank
coming in
you.
and
Always
guest
a pleasure.
co-hosting with me tonight.
And I look forward to
And,
seeing you tomorrow night.
Yeah, I will be there.
Yep.
We sit beside each other at the city council. We're sitting beside each other here, and we've done it for
And by the
years.
way, we don't always agree.
We don't always agree, but
No.
we don't fight.
Nope.
No. We can respect each other to agree to disagree.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way it should be. All right. This is the Open Mic Show. It's every Monday night between 6 and 8 p.m. Next Monday night, it's going to be Dan Coe in the 6 o'clock hour, and Vice President of the City Council, Tom Sullivan, will be here in the 7 o'clock hour.
Well, I just want to thank you once again for having me.
No,
Thank you very much, Bill.
Thank you for
Appreciate it.
coming in.
Thank you.
All right. And so that's going to wrap it up here tonight. And do tune in next Monday night at 8, the Open Mic Show on WHAV 97.9 FM.
Open mic!
Join Bill Macek live on the new Open Mic again next Monday night at 6. The opinions expressed on the Open Mic Show are not necessarily those of 97.9 WHAV FM, its underwriter, or affiliated stations. The Open Mic Show came to you from the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom.
It's 8 o'clock.
WHAV LP Haverhill.
Wave weather.
Now your wave weather forecast for Haverhill and the Merrimack Valley. Heat advisory remains in effect until Tuesday evening at 8. Very warm temperatures continue tonight with lows eventually falling into the middle 70s with mainly clear skies. Light wind around 5 miles per hour from the southwest. Mainly sunny skies. The hot temperatures could allow an isolated thunderstorm or shower to bubble up in the afternoon. Overall near 97 degrees. Lows drop to 72 Tuesday night, mainly cloudy and an isolated shower. Few showers, maybe a thunderstorm around on Wednesday. High temperatures cooler in the upper 80s. I'm WHAV meteorologist Brian I. Wave